Well, hello everyone, welcome to India for round 17, season 4 of my F1 2012 career mode. I am Lost Buds, 4 races remaining in this series, and we need to finish 3rd or above today is my objective, and in qualifying my objective was 6th. So, let's see what we can do. It's never traditionally been my fastest track, especially not if I do that on the first corner, but amazingly this was my fastest lap out of the 2 I did in Q3. Because the second time I was messing up in my favourite sector, Sector 2. As you can tell, I'm not really quick in that sector, but I think I do better than I had done last season, that's for sure. I'm a bit faster, got a bit of a better setup, and I've also got some times to compare it to today as well, which is pretty nice. I did leave it for a little while to see how my times were stacking up. Grosjean sets the initial time of 1:28.9. I'm a fraction ahead of that, going into the very twisty little bit section. This is the particular bit I hate of the track, but I got through that relatively okay. And you got this long sweeping right-hander, which I almost took quite well, but not brilliant. So I lost maybe a couple of tenths there. See how my 10th down Grosjean. 3rd sector for me is not too bad. I'm pretty much on the same pace as the AI. Did miss the apex there a little bit. Could have been worse. I just got to make the apex of the final corner, which I do. Sometimes I can be crap at that little one. And I did actually make it up into 4th, but let's see what the actual time at the end of the session was. If it was still 4th or... Oh, I moved down to 6th. Kimi Raikkonen managed to grab the pole there. 1:28.8. Grosjean slipped to 4th, but I managed to stick in 6th, so I did slip just 2 places there. Not too bad, still met my objective anyway, so it's all good. So right, let's see how far we can move up. We're thinking of the constructors at this stage of the season. I'm pretty much almost world champion. I just need to find a way of getting Jenson up into the top 5 at the very least. Oh. Bit of a squeeze there, but the big loser out of that was Grosjean. I looked on the replay after the race to get my montage bits as usual, and Grosjean actually crashed into the pole, and the pole didn't break, so he actually got stuck there, which is why he is now at the back of the grid, which is hilarious. That's pretty much his final race to get back at me in the driver rivalry, so it's not off to a good start for him, but you never know, I could still mess everything up. There's always time for that. Jenson looks like he is maybe 10th or something, looking at the order there. Can't really tell at this stage. It's not looking great at the minute. I think Raikkonen went off in the distance there. And then he got Rosberg in 2nd, Webber's in 4th. The Red Bull's actually starting to get some points now. And start to feature regularly in the top 10. As they for some reason do at the end of the season. But that's good news for me, because Red Bull are nowhere near in the running for anything in the Constructors. Apart from somewhere in the midfield. Some of the... I don't know, 6th place or something, 5th or 6th place, something like that. Basically, it's a 3-way fight between Lotus, Mercedes and McLaren at the minute, and that is the top 3. So, ideally I want to get ahead of Rosberg, and also ideally Jenson needs to get ahead of Schumacher wherever he is. And we both need to get ahead of the Lotuses as well. So I need to try and push as much as possible here. So as long as I stay within that second, I can get DRS on the next lap. Should be able to make a move on him. Usually I lose the cars around this 2nd sector, but I've sort of managed to find a way of staying on the pace, catch up to them. As you can see, they haven't run away just yet. He do seem to have a nice run out of that long sweeping right-hander most of the time, but it's not it's not as good as it used to be. As you see, I've managed to close up on the back of Rosberg quite considerably here. Might even be able to make a move into the first corner if possible, if I'm that close, but it doesn't quite look like it yet. You never know, I am gaining on him. Maybe I can make a move up the inside. And I do. And I do. And I'm trying to give him enough room. Just enough. Set the fastest lap in the process. So that's all good. So I'm up to second now. Which is good. Very good. Need to make sure I stay ahead of Rosberg. It's all about them constructors' points. And Drivers' Championship as well. Just need to stay ahead of Rosberg, and then I can pretty much win the title. May not necessarily win it here in India, but time is running out for them to make a difference, considering I have at least 2 races points advantage over Rosberg. Rosberg has already fallen back by nearly 3 seconds, which is quite strange. Maybe he got pushed quite wide there, I'm not sure. Or either that or he had to defend going into the start of Sector 2 after that long straight with the DRS is. So yeah, things are pretty constant in a minute. I'm going to have to blow my nose. 1 second. Every time recently, every time I try and record, my nose plays up. So there you go, you can see Grosjean down there in 23rd. Raikkonen is slowly getting away, which is to be expected. That Lotus is damn quick. Doesn't actually matter who's driving it. It's Raikkonen or Grosjean, they are bloody quick. And looking to stake their claim on the Constructors' title. But at least Grosjean isn't going to be in the points today. Which means, you know, even if Raikkonen wins, then they won't get far away. Depends where Jenson ends up. It looks like he has moved up the field a little bit. So if you look at that, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I think Jenson is within the top 10 at the very least. Must be about 7th or 8th or something. So that's looking good. So that's some extra points. I'm looking for him to move up a little bit more. Because ideally what I want to do is be in front and sort of slow down the pack quite a bit. I mean, you could argue that I could do it now and just like bunch up the ones behind me to make it easier, but I've still got to score some really good points myself anyway, and ideally I want to be in front of the Raikkonen. Whether that can happen, I'm not quite sure yet. As ever, I've forgotten exactly what happens in the race. I know the general results, and I know what happens later on in the pit stop phase, but that's about it. I can't quite figure out the specifics, because in a lot of these races I am half asleep most of the time. Come in from work, get that PlayStation on, record a race, and try and process it as fast as possible. I have actually completed the season, so all I've got to do is edit it and put the commentary on it. So you're definitely going to get all of the races by the time I move house. An update video I still have to do, if I remember. So I mustn't forget that. So there's not much happening at the moment. Let's just have a look at the old Formula 1 news, if any. Yeah, Raikkonen's 4.2 seconds. Yeah, he's pulling away slowly. Rosberg is gaining time on me, but only 10ths per lap, so it's not too bad. Probably won't be able to get on the back of me by the time the pit stops comes around. But yeah, in F1 news, they compared all the times across the whole 3 days. And guess who's at the top? It's Mr. Vettel with his fastest time. Yeah, shut up, engineer. I know. I know damn well you told me to come into the pits. I didn't actually notice for a little while that Raikkonen went into the pits during the race. That's why I eventually flick up to the rich fuel mix, so I can maybe get a bit of an advantage on Raikkonen, if possible. Hopefully he has come out in some traffic, so that should slow him down a bit. Do need a decent in-lap, which I don't think is going to be my best lap ever, so it's going to be a bit difficult.
There's not much between you and the car behind, just 2 seconds.
Vettel's made his way up to third, as I do a bit of a corner cut. Not the most ideal in-lap in the world, but never mind. But yes, generally, in the Young Drivers Test, Red Bull and Toro Rosso have come out on top. Followed by Force India, then Lotus, then Ferrari and McLaren. Williams, Sauber, Caterham and Marussia. Pretty much, you know, the standard, what you would expect. Lotus being behind Force India is not ideal, but then again, they had Sutil in the Force India anyway, and Duresta at some point, I think. So that's not particularly surprising. Ferrari, not surprisingly, low down in 5th. I don't know if that's representative of the car, but they are off the pace in a minute. McLaren are pretty much where they are this season, in 6th. Yeah, it does look a bit ominous that the Red Bull and Toro Rosso are up in the top 2 there. But never mind.
You have no more scheduled pit stops, so look after your tyres.
It's hard to draw too many conclusions from it. That is, after all, for the young drivers
Jenson's in
to get experience in the car after all, so it's hard to tell who's got the upper edge until we get to Hungary. So, after the pit stops, Raikkonen did just manage to get out in front of me there, as you might have seen. If I had a better in-lap, maybe I could have been fighting with him into the first few corners.
pace is good.
They didn't quite work out that way. So I almost got in front of him. Does mean Button is actually in the lead now, because he managed to make his way through the pack at the right time. He should be coming into the pits this lap, and if I can manage to catch up to Raikkonen, which does seem a bit of a task at the moment, I'll get in front of him and slow him down, make sure the guys can what was I saying? Make sure the guys aren't on Jenson's back when he comes out. But yeah, Raikkonen was always going to get past. I was always going to get past. I suppose it just depends on whether Vettel and Rosberg get past him as well. Have to see when he gets out of the pits. But this is very good news for the constructors, at least. Going off white there. Raikkonen's going to get away now. Looks like Rosberg made his way past there, or was it? Who is it? It is Rosberg. And my back tyre hits the pole. This isn't great, really. Bye bye, Raikkonen. Have a nice win. But there you go. Looks like Button is in 4th there, so my intention is to start slowing down, reducing the pace a little bit in a minute, just to make sure the guys behind can catch up to me. Ideally, if I can slow the pack down now and get Button to overtake Vettel. So I was looking at the map there at that point, that's why I went off into the gravel. Wasn't really paying attention, I was trying to work out where everyone was. So yeah, if I can slow the pack down, manage to get in Vettel's way a little bit, hopefully that should clear the way for Button to overtake me and Vettel, and try and get Button into 2nd place. And I can finish in 3rd and cover Jenson. Because at least if I finish 3rd, I still meet my objective anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. So I can switch down to standard fuel mix though. so I can slow down even further. Looks like he's gaining quite some time on me. Obviously Raikkonen's going to run away with it. I'm not really going to be able to catch him, I don't think. So it's all about maximising the points for the team at the minute. I mean, it's all very well Raikkonen scoring 25, but Grosjean's at the back there. So all they could get is 25, whereas potentially me and Jenson finishing second and third, we could get about 33 points. Is that right? 15, 15, 30, and then the remainder 3. Yeah, 33 points. So we'd still end up scoring more than Lotus. As it stands, 18, 15, 12, the order. 12, 15 plus... I know, 18 plus 12. That's 30. I never really thought of it during a race, so even this position could be lucrative. But either way, those extra points may end up helping us at the end of the season, seeing as the Constructors' race is so tight at the minute. So I managed to get Vettel right up behind me now. He's going to get DRS on me on the main straight, but I can defend from that. As long as I get a decent run out at the last corner. I was trying to slow him right up here. Just getting in his way a little bit, but he did actually manage to make it past. Which wasn't ideal, so now I've got to catch up to Vettel. Which shouldn't be too hard considering the Red Bull isn't actually that fast this season. And it's quite embarrassing because he got the DRS on me as well. But you can see he didn't really get far away. Now I just got to be careful I don't hold button up. So at least I have some fuel in reserve to go back onto the rich fuel mix and catch up to Vettel. Should be alright to do so. Just keep on the back of him here, overtake him again in DRS zone, whether that be in on the start finish straight or the start long back straight. That's what I call it, long back straight really. Don't really have any other name for it other than straight. It's quite fun to try and keep control of the car in some of those corners though. I give it that, as much as I'm not particularly a fan of the circuit. Ah, here we go. This is going to be it. We're going to dive up the inside here, try and push him wide a bit, but unfortunately I did push him a bit too wide, and now I'm going to get a penalty. I was like, fuck! Caused a collision. Yeah, maybe it may have tapped him a little bit, and I had to avoid going into the back of button there. But unfortunately, my it was a good plan, but unfortunately, I did push him too wide, and he ended up crashing into me. But because I forced him wide, the game decides it's me and gets the penalty anyway. So, I mean, because if I wasn't there, it wouldn't have been his fault anyway. So, whatever, I'll take the penalty. It's not a biggie as long as Jenson's up in second there. I'm just going to have to probably fight my way back into the top 10, which is a bit irritating. Because in hindsight, you could see that staying in second and fourth would have been easier. But you know, you've got to take a risk sometimes. And today is just one of those days where the risk didn't particularly pay off as much as it could have done. So it could end up being in a situation where Lotus do actually score more points than us, but not by much. We can only see when we get through and serve up penalty, see how far we can get back into the game. My pace is pretty good, just apart from catching up to Raikkonen. I should be okay on the other guys. Grosjean's too far away to make a difference. So let's see what we can do when we come out the pits. Yeah, Vettel didn't lose very much, did he, little bugger? But you got some really uncommon names in the top 10 today as well. You got Senna, you got Hulkenberg, Glock, Massa. I just got in front of Massa, which is pretty good. should be able to take Glock pretty easily on this straight. So I should at least be 11th by the end of this by next corner. Once I get the DRS working. Now the race is on to take the next 3 or 4 positions, I think. Yeah, I need to at least get in front of those 3 cars ahead of me. I need to take Alonso to get into the points again. Grosjean is starting to pick up the pace as well. So he'll make up some positions, but he is way too far off to do anything at this point in time. That first lap incident costing him dear. I believe he had to go into the pits as well for a wing change, so that didn't help. But anyway, the focus is on these 3 cars ahead of me. I need to get in front of them to get the maximum I can out of the situation. Might not be able to catch the group in front of them, but I'll give it a bloody good try. So should be, well, the best laps I can pull out the bag at this stage of the race. The car is lighter on fuel now, so it should have a bit more oomph to it. Got 3 laps of extra fuel. It's my phone going off there if you could hear it. But yeah, coming up to the back of Alonso now. Almost within a second. Let's see if I've got DRS on this lap. I'm not sure I have. Let's see if I get the beep. Nah, didn't, unfortunately. But I have so much speed for some reason. Alonso has completely fallen off the pace there. I don't know what happened there. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Take 10th place away from him. Schumacher is trying to fight with Di Resta, I believe that is. So they should be busy. They should be slowed down a little bit. So there should be a chance for me to close up the gap to them and overtake those 2 if I can. As long as I don't clobber one of them. Talking of clobbering, I've got a lot to do today. I've got to fix the car because I managed to hit a deer the other night going to work, which is quite interesting. Ended up giving me another 2 days off work, but it's going to cost me a little bit of cash, so it's not ideal. So here we go. This is a good chance to get past Di Resta at the least, because Schumacher's got his DRS open. Di Resta doesn't have DRS, so I managed to just about get around the outside of him in time. Was a bit close, touch and go, but managed to make Di Resta lose 2 places. I should have DRS now on Schumacher, so I might be able to even nick 8th place away from him now. I am quite close to do it, and I'm in the slipstream, so I'm going to have a pretty good overspeed. There we go. Sorted up to 8th. Let's see if we can maybe catch up to 7th. It's a bit unlikely with 1.5 laps to go, but stranger things have happened. I'm sort of relying on someone to crash out at this point, though. But it is good to see Button's got a nice substantial gap to the cars behind him. Vettel, I think, holding up the pack a little bit, but just fast enough to keep the guys behind him. Reminds me of myself sometimes. But there you go. Raikkonen's just flying out front there somewhere. Come up to some back markers. So, yeah. Definitely not winning today, that's for sure. But McLaren should get a decent result with Jenson in 2nd. Should bump up his points tally as well. 2nd and 8th. I should get 4 points for 8th, I believe. 4 points, so that's 22 points in total for McLaren. Unfortunately, not quite as good as Kimi's 25. But yeah, as I said earlier, I was just taking a risk and could have been better. Well, it could have been worse as well. I could have ended up outside the points. I still got to hold on the car though. Still can't relax just yet, but I have managed to set the fastest lap, which means, you know, at least I have pace. And it does feel like a more exciting race when I'm like chasing people and getting involved. Getting at the front does kind of get a bit tedious after a while. As much as I welcome the points, it'd be nice to have an epic fight for it. But it's kind of hard to know exactly what the pace is, especially when the AI lap times can be a bit deceptive. But yeah, there's only like a few tracks that I'm really faster than everyone else at. Spa, obviously, the most prominent example. Ended up 20 seconds ahead of the following car. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Just remains to see what it's going to be like in 2013. So, just going to come around the final corner now. Didn't quite catch up at Hulkenberg. Maybe if I had a couple more laps I would have done. But 8th, not too bad considering I got a penalty, so there we go. Managed to get Jenson up into 2nd, which was my objective. Just unfortunately I did push Vettel a bit too wide and sort of ruined it a little bit. But there you go. Shit happens.
That's a really solid 8th place. Great driving.
And I'm going to need to work on the Drivers' Championship as well. Talking of which, Rosberg isn't there. Which means Sergio Perez managed to get 3rd place. Oh, so he was the one holding up the pack. Oh, I get it now. Sergio got past Vettel somehow. Probably when I pushed him off the track. Oh, there's Rosberg. Rosberg down in 15th. He had some sort of problem, but it wasn't down to me. Grosjean 16th. So that's 2 rivals out the way in drivers and constructors. So we'll take it. We will take it. So there shouldn't be much change in the constructors.
Still first in the Drivers' Championship.
Obviously I'm still first in Drivers' Championship. 2 race gap. Should be able to win it in Abu Dhabi if I have a good race, which I usually kind of do on with my setup. But we'll wait and see what happens there. So yeah, nothing much notable to note there. Jenson has moved up to 7th with 90 points. Looking pretty good. Moving down the order here. Nothing much of any. No more particular special mentions there to be looked at. So yeah, there we go. Let's have a look at the constructors in a minute when I flick the button. There we go. It's the interesting one. Mercedes still at the top there. Motors have gone into 2nd there, but they're only 1 point ahead of us. So the top 3 separated by 3 points. So it's going to be an interesting constructors fight. I really want that trophy this year. Just my own satisfaction, as I have never won the constructors in this game. So see what we can do. Got to find a way of catapulting Jenson up again. But it does rely on his qualifying results, so we'll see. Anyway, join me next time for round 18 in Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina circuit. I'll see you then.